Your life's not like anyone else's, and chances are you found yourself on adventures you never planned to take. It's all part of this crazy journey we call life. Learning how to embrace the unexpected while working to live your best life is not easy, but you've come to the right place. Because in my world, if it's highly unlikely, it's practically guaranteed to happen. I'm Lavina Perry, and this is the Highly Unlikely Podcast. Unhappiness can be rooted in many different things, and you may feel powerless to control it and maybe have just accepted that you're an unhappy person, but it simply isn't true. You have the power to control the happiness in your own life, but you have to stop doing some key things in order to find that happiness. Welcome to the Highly Unlikely Podcast. Today I'm going to give you 5 things that you need to stop doing today to have a happier life. So let's dig in. The first thing is to stop focusing on what you don't have. There is always going to be things that you want or upgrades that you want that you just don't have the money for right now or just can't buy right now. And it's okay to want a bigger house or to have nicer things. That's perfectly normal. But when we start focusing on what we don't have, it puts us into a negative mindset where we are no longer recognizing any of the good things that we have in our life because all of our energy and our focus is spent on what we don't have. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. It's not really the things that you want. It's how the things make you feel that you desire. For example, having a bigger house might make you feel more peaceful and calm when everybody has a little bit more space and they're not right on top of each other all the time, nitpicking at each other. Or you might just like how it feels to have that big house and what other people think of you, or the elevated status that you feel like it creates for you having the biggest house on the block, right? It's not the fancy car that you want. It's maybe the peace of mind of knowing that that newer car that you purchased isn't going to break down. Or you may just like what it feels like to roll down the street in a really beautiful car. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those things can make us feel good. And the things that you want may even make your life more convenient or less stressful or reduce the amount of time that it takes you to complete certain tasks. And that's perfectly fine. But when you start focusing more on what you don't have, you may forget how far you've come and how much progress you've made. Like focusing on not having the car that you want may make you forget how hard you had to work to get that car and the sense of accomplishment that you felt when you had finally saved up enough money to make that purchase. Changing your focus to all of the good things that you currently have in your life and all of the progress that you have currently already made, knowing that one day you're going to be able to make those upgrades or buy those things that you want, helps you to stay in a more positive state of mind, which just feels good. Spending your energy and your time focusing on all that you have puts you into a positive state. And when you're in a positive state, you feel happier. The second thing is that you need to stop comparing yourself to other people. There are few things in this world that will make you feel worse than comparing yourself to someone else. And there is no way to know truly what struggles another person has in their life. So if you are looking at social media and you're comparing your own life to what you see on social media, there are some things that you need to remember. We all post our best moments on social media. So when you're comparing yourself to social media, you're comparing what you know is the worst moments of yourself to the best moments of someone else. And that can feel really, really bad. You also don't know what that person had to go through to achieve the success that they have today. You don't know the trials that they faced, the sacrifices that they made, or the failures that they had to endure before they achieved that success. It can be really easy to look at someone else and think that they were just lucky or that it was easy for them, but it wasn't. That lady with the magazine house that you think is just so beautiful may have suffered tragic loss in her life, or that person with the flashy lifestyle that travels all over may never have known the gift of true friendship. You don't know the struggles that they face. Not really. I mean, just look at Robin Williams and Marilyn Monroe. I mean, they had fame, they were adored by the world, they had success and money, they had it all, and yet both of them took their own lives. And that may seem like a really extreme example, but it bears the point that you don't know the internal struggles that another person has, ever. So stop comparing yourself to them. Put your eyes back on your own paper and focus on your own work. If you're really struggling with this, then I highly recommend that you get off of social media and just turn the TV off. When you're no longer being bombarded by images of other people's perfect lives, right? Quote unquote perfect, because nobody actually has a perfect life, then maybe you could actually start to focus on the work that you need to do and take some time to really look at your life and evaluate where you are. Find the areas where you need to make some changes or do the hard work, and then get busy doing the work and making the changes that you want to see in your own life. This is the path to happiness. Sitting around comparing yourself to other people is the path to misery. The next thing is to stop putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own. A lot of women really struggle with this. When they get married and they have a baby or they enter a relationship, they oftentimes will find a lot of their joy and happiness in the successes of their children and their partner. They spend all of their time caring for other people, and by the end of the day, they're so exhausted that they can't even think about what it is that they need or dreams that they once had. They have put their dreams aside to focus on being a wife and a mother, and before they even know what has happened, they've forgotten about those dreams and lost themselves in the roles that they play in other people's lives. It's a common tale. But that doesn't mean that you have to continue down that path once you realize what has happened. It is necessary for you to care for yourself. You can't possibly show up for all of those other people in your life as your best self unless you are doing things to take care of your needs and your desires. Find something each day that you can do to take care of you and make a habit of it and grow into it, which leads to the next thing, which is to stop waiting to pursue your dreams. If you have a dream for your life, do not wait. You might not be able to jump in feet first, go full speed ahead right now, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things that you can do to lay the groundwork and create the foundation for success when you are ready to move ahead and pursue that dream or that goal that you have for yourself, so that when you have more availability, you will already be ready to move ahead. Now, if it's fear that is holding you back, you are wasting precious time. By allowing fear to control you, you are giving away your happiness, which leads to a life of regret. So take control. Do what you need to do. Do the things that you're afraid to do and start creating the life that you dream of. The last thing is to stop with the negativity. Stop being negative. Stop allowing negative people and negative influences into your life. This can be friends, this can be loved ones, this can be things that you're seeing on social media or on TV. wherever it is, wherever the negative influences are coming from, you need to banish them. Get off social media if you need to. Turn off the television or start creating space between you and the negative people in your life. If you find that you are the one that is doing and saying negative things, you need to flip from a negative to a positive mindset. You can start your day by writing 5 or 10 things that you're grateful for, and you might even need to repeat that in the middle of the day. You can just put a reminder on your phone, set an alarm to go off to remind you that it's time to stop and focus on some more positive things. Maybe make a list out loud, or you can write it down. But you can also put up post-it note reminders, or you can get a family or friends to help you by pointing out when you are starting to talk really negatively during a conversation, to give you that opportunity to change to a more positive perspective or a more positive topic of conversation. And you can even set a rule for yourself that every time you catch yourself saying something really negative, that you will have to say 5 things that are positive. And this really works to train your brain to naturally start thinking more positively, and your brain will automatically start, every time you have a negative thought, it will start automatically replacing it with more positive thoughts, because you are starting to create a habit of immediately stopping yourself and focusing on more positive things every time those negative thoughts come into your mind. Negative self-talk and negative thinking is one of the greatest contributors to unhappiness. Thinking positively and saying positive things and having a positive perspective on things doesn't change your circumstances. It just changes how you're reacting to those negative things in your life and to those circumstances, and how you're focusing on it, and the energy that you're putting into it and coming away from it with. I personally have had plenty of things in my life to be unhappy about. And I could have focused on all of the negative things and the tragedy and the loss and the difficult circumstances. I could have gone down that rabbit hole of negativity and just given up on ever feeling happy again or ever having good things in my life. I could have allowed all of those bad things to become who I am, that there would be no other part of my identity outside of all of the terrible things that have happened in my life. But I chose not to do that. I chose to take a different path and to focus on the things that I can control, and to focus on the really good and positive things in my life. And that really has made all the difference for me. And that has allowed me to feel happy and to be in a state of happiness despite the challenges that I have faced. Everyone has things in their life that can make them unhappy, but you get to choose whether or not you focus on all of the negative things and all of the negative thoughts and feelings that go along with those challenges, or you can choose to put your time and your energy and your focus into focusing on the things that you can control and the positive things in your life. This creates a state of happiness despite the challenges that you face. You get to decide. There you have it. 5 things you can stop doing today if you want to have a happier life. Remember, you are the master of your own life. You are the one guiding the ship. If you don't like where you are or the things that you're seeing in your life, you have the power to make the change that you want to see, if you're willing to do the work and to make the changes that are necessary to have the life that you want and to have the happiness that you seek. And that is all I have for you today. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind, and live your best life. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Highly Unlikely Podcast, you can find more by following me on Facebook at A Highly Unlikely Life, or find me on the web at ahighlyunlikelylife.com. And don't forget to subscribe.